Hi, and I hope you're all doing well. Welcome aboard to this new segment. If you're new to the channel, I would like to kindly ask you to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video. In the channel, I've introduced a segment called Mega's Recap. So, this will be tackling things that we have learned from the SPORTPESA Mega Jackpots so far, what we can draw from all the SPORTPESA jackpots that we have predicted, and what we can do better. Please note that I'm not a certified betting expert, and the predictions provided in this channel are based solely on my perspective and analysis. Always bet responsibly, risk wisely, and consider these insights as general opinions rather than professional advice. Also, to clarify, this channel has no sponsorship or affiliation with SportPesa or any other betting organization. Before I start it, I would like your input on if I should introduce a segment that basically analyzes how teams generally play and, yeah, to at least get the nows of everything. Basically, teams that come in the mega jackpot that are rounded. So, here are our results. Looking at them, they're not encouraging as per se. 6 over 17 is very not encouraging. That's the word. So that's a third of the total number of games. So we would have done better because I think for me, a team like I was thinking when I was predicting that a team like Neck would have won against Peck. I don't know how Catanzaro won, drew. Sorry, I thought it would have won that game. Las Palmas too. Like I don't know how this team like ended up losing. Um, Cremonese, I had a feeling that it would win. Well, Aberdeen, I was not so sure. I had a feeling that it would draw. Levante draw was okay. Brida, oh my. Bologna was okay for me. Orange, I had a feeling of it winning because Lugo was off form. Even you could guess, you could see even in my prediction that I said that Orange might win. Cecily Bruges, I don't know why. Every time your gut tells you something, I think you should always place everything based on your gut. Because these teams, most of them, apart from which one? Which one would I say was a hard one for me to predict? I don't know. I did feel I had guts on most teams here. Somewhat win. I don't like draws actually. I would try as much as possible to negate draws the next time out. If I find that I don't see the need for a draw, I won't be even picking it. So let's go to our lessons. So mid to top oppositions meeting. So teams that do come into this category is a team like it's not a mid-table, but it's not a top team. So that's why we call it mid to top table opposition. And for top teams too, they also appear in this category. So you find teams like Aston Villa, Tottenham, Liverpool, Arsenal, Bologna, Barcelona, Real Madrid. So they might be in the jackpot. So when you find them there, so my take would be basically you look at the team's form. That's how when you're trying to predict. So in a game like Tottenham and Chelsea, I remember that game, it was in jackpot. I straight away went to Chelsea because they were on a better form. You expected a goal in that game and they ended up winning. So such kind of metrics, you look at them. So if you find that there's literally no differences between those two teams, like in the recent jackpot, Bologna and Roma were meeting. So just recently, I selected a draw. Roma was on a good patch of form. Bologna too was in a good patch of form. So there was little no difference between those two sides. So that's why I actually selected a draw. More often than not, those teams try and negate each other. So when one scores, there's a high possibility for the other one to equalize. Liverpool and Arsenal still did go the same way. So we had Arsenal scoring first, and then Liverpool, Drew Salah coming back to score. So draws are more applicable. But again, you look for form. If form is not there for those teams, try to find anything else would not be a good thing. So I think basically the form team or a draw would be the best outcome in such kind of category. So high scorers and best defenses. Now this is a category that they do usually occur because jackpots their categories, their classifics. So there's how they categorize this. So you find one team that's scoring so much, and that team that has good defense in the league that they're paired up in a jackpot game. So an example of that is not Norwich versus Burnley. There was a time they were in a jackpot, I remember, and Burnley ended up winning 2-1 in that game. So, well, my analysis of such a game is not basically because Norwich were bad on that day, but because Burnley did a good job at defending and attacking well. Again, Wolves and Mainz. Now, Wolves were very good scorers. Mainz were good scorers as well, but Wolves was the better of the scorer. So when predicting that game, I didn't see a draw because they hardly had draws in their past 5 games. So I think in such a game, I definitely predicted Wolves because Wolves showed me their attacking intent to even attack in the 90th of minutes. Fortuna Düsseldorf and Hamburg was once in a jackpot, and Hamburg FC ended up winning that game. So ask yourself these questions. In the last 3 games or so, of those 2 teams meeting, which confidence has been higher of those 2 teams and which one is rising? Can any of those 2 teams return a goal when they concede first and go on to win? So is there any of those teams that can have a comeback? Because that's morale, that's mentality of teams, that's how you measure them. How is their discipline? Because red cards in such games are very, they do occur. So check if their teams, for those 2 teams that have had in their recent games that have had red cards or even too many yellow cards in their games. I do analyze like that, by the way. So how many goals do their top scorers have? Like previously, Marseille was meeting Rennes, and I saw that the top scorer, how do I call this guy? Greenwood, Mason Greenwood, was on form and had 10 goals, and he was really on a good patch of form. So I had him to score probably and even win. Even in the prediction that I made an assertive prediction that Marseille will win the game and Mason Greenwood would score, and both of those 2 things happened. None of these questions measure team mentality and ability to score. So make a decision based on that. So yeah. On to our third category, which is the worst league performance against other teams. So basically, games that have majorly appeared in the mega jackpots featuring weak opposition or weak league performers are Aberdeen and Hearts, Aroca and Santa Clara, Montpellier and Nice, Bochum and Heidenheim. You know the teams actually. You can get a Southampton there. Yeah. So my take on these teams is that more often than not, these games end up being tightly battled affairs. I have mostly seen draws and the least performers winning these encounters almost in all jackpots. In the case of the 3 aforementioned games, you know the results. So Aberdeen stretched for 5 losses and ended up having a 0-0 draw with Hearts. Aroca won 1-0. Montpellier held Nice to a 2-2 draw. So look for bounce backs. See if the worst team has had the capacity to score at least a goal or 2 in their previous 2 games, and look for a change in managers. Don't overthink it, just go with your gut. Most of the time, these teams that are called low positions, they do kind of have that mentality to at least come up with something in those games. So at least a draw or a win for them in most games. So our 4th and final category is the mid-table outing teams. So I think this is how jackpots are basically categorized. So in this category, you basically have mid-table teams that have had inconsistent plays and games. They are the most common games in the mega jackpot. This category is categorized by inconsistent results, you basically can't outrightly pick a winner based on a team form. Games that are usually featured here can range from all leagues, Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, games in Serie A, Serie B, Bundesliga 1 or 2, League 1 or 2, Portuguese League, Turkish, Scottish, South African League, Netherlands, La Liga 1 or 2, and any other international competition. So in this, you'll find, in this category now, you'll find these kind of teams here. So the depth of knowledge on how a particular team plays will surely help you here. So like in the last outing, so Young Africans, that is a mid-table team, I would say so. That is how you classify that in the jackpot. So due to the inconsistency, I would honestly check how the previous game's head-to-head encounter ended and judge according to how they are currently performing. So you currently look at their head-to-head records, how those two teams, their last head-to-head ended, and now judge that head-to-head based on their current performance. If there's one team that has improved, the other, you know how to judge it. So yeah, that's my pick. So now comes my quick fire takeaways. So number one is you trust your instincts and guts completely. First instincts and guts completely. Better or informed equates to higher degree or guarantee of winning due to team's mentality. Predict wins most of the time. Predict draws most of the time. See, there's nothing much to separate two teams on common metrics such as goals scored, goals conceded, clean sheets, and such. Well, a good attack beats a good defense most of the times. That's a fact. Worst league performers always have a reasons to cause an upset. Be cautious of teams regarded as mid-table teams that barely find themselves in relegation battles. Mixed results teams, that's how I would call them. Their current forms, which can surely be defined, analyzed, or contextualized, show very little of their capabilities, and that is where majority of teams come from in the mega jackpot. So, and then the last one is each team is very different from another. Things don't always seem to turn out, but most of the times they do. Again, have a clue on how certain teams play, when facing what opponents. This is very paramount. Stick to that fact check. As most often than not, that's how it surely happens. A very good example is how Everton play at home this season. You see they've been correct in most draws. Right from the Newcastle game, there was an Everton and Newcastle game. And then Everton and Arsenal, Everton and Chelsea, Everton and Manchester City. You see, you kind of get the juice here now. So yeah, again, Nottingham was another example. So with that, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. For more in-depth content like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will be doing more of this. Thank you and bye-bye.